Now, this will create millions of jobs and countless new businesses and enable America to lead the global fight against climate change. We will also connect workers to their jobs and businesses. Customers will have a better chance to actually get where they need and get what they desire, with roads, railways, bridges, airports, ports, and broadband brought up to global standards for the 21st century. We will establish an infrastructure bank and sell bonds to pay for some of these improvements. Now, building an economy for tomorrow also requires investing in our most important asset, our people, beginning with our youngest. That's why I will propose that we make preschool and quality childcare available to every child in America. And I want you to remember this because, to me, this is absolutely the most compelling argument why we should do this. Research tells us how much early learning in the first 5 years of life can impact lifelong success. In fact, 80% of your brain is developed by age 3. And one thing I've learned is that talent is universal. You can find it anywhere, but opportunity is not. Too many of our kids never have the chance to learn and thrive as they should and as we need them to. Our country won't be competitive or fair if we don't help more families give their kids the best possible start in life. So let's staff our primary and secondary schools with teachers who are second to none in the world and receive the respect they deserve for sparking the love of learning in every child. Let's make college affordable and available to all and lift the crushing burden of student debt. Let's provide lifelong learning for workers to gain or improve skills that the economy requires, setting up many more Americans for success. Now, the second fight is to strengthen America's families, because when our families are strong, America is strong. And today's families face new and unique pressures. Parents need more support and flexibility to do their job at work and at home. I believe you should have the right to earn paid sick days. I believe you should receive your work schedule with enough notice to arrange childcare or take college courses to get ahead. I believe you should look forward to retirement with confidence, not anxiety. That you should have the peace of mind that your health care will be there when you need it without breaking the bank. I believe we should offer paid family leave so no one has to choose between keeping a paycheck and caring for a new baby or a sick relative. And it is way past time to end the outrage of so many women still earning less than men on the job. And women of color often making even less. This isn't a women's issue. It's a family issue, just like raising the minimum wage is a family issue. Expanding childcare is a family issue. Declining marriage rates is a family issue. The unequal rates of incarceration is a family issue. Helping more people with an addiction or a mental health problem get help is a family issue. In America, every family should feel like they belong. So we should offer hardworking, law-abiding immigrant families a path to citizenship. Not second-class status. And we should ban discrimination against LGBT Americans and their families so they can live, learn, marry, and work just like everybody else. You know, America's diversity, our openness, our devotion to human rights and freedom is what's drawn so many to our shores, what's inspired people all over the world. I know, I've seen it with my own eyes. And these are also the qualities that prepare us well for the demands of a world that is more interconnected than ever before. So we have a third fight, to harness all of America's power, smarts, and values to maintain our leadership for peace, security, and prosperity. No other country on earth is better positioned to thrive in the 21st century. No other country is better equipped to meet traditional threats from countries like Russia, North Korea, and Iran, and to deal with the rise of new powers like China. No other country is better prepared to meet emerging threats from cyber attacks, transnational terror networks like ISIS, and diseases that spread across oceans and continents. As your president, I'll do whatever it takes to keep Americans safe. And if you look over my left shoulder, you can see the new World Trade Center soaring skyward. As a senator from New York, I dedicated myself to getting our city and state the help we needed to recover. And as a member of the Armed Services Committee, I worked to maintain the best trained, best equipped, strongest military, ready for today's threats and tomorrow's. And when our brave men and women come home from war or finish their service, I'll see to it that they get not just the thanks of a grateful nation, but the care and benefits they've earned. I've stood up to adversaries like Putin and reinforced allies like Israel, and I was in the Situation Room on the day we got bin Laden. But I know we have to be smart as well as strong. Meeting today's global challenges requires every element of America's power, including skillful diplomacy, economic influence, and building partnerships to improve lives around the world with people, not just their governments. There are a lot of trouble spots in the world, but there's a lot of good news out there too. I believe the future holds far more opportunities than threats if we exercise creative and confident leadership that enables us to shape global events rather than be shaped by them. And we all know that in order to be strong in the world, we first have to be strong at home. That's why we have to win the fourth fight, reforming our government and revitalizing our democracy so that it works for everyday Americans. We have to stop the endless flow of secret, unaccountable money that is distorting our elections, corrupting our political process, and drowning out the voices of our people. We need justices on the Supreme Court who will protect every citizen's right to vote, rather than every corporation's right to buy elections. If necessary, I will support a constitutional amendment to undo the Supreme Court's decision in Citizens United. I want to make it easier for every citizen to vote. That's why I've proposed universal automatic registration and expanded early voting. I'll fight back against Republican efforts to disempower and disenfranchise young people, poor people, people with disabilities, and people of color. What part of democracy are they afraid of? But no matter how easy we make it to vote, we still have to give Americans something worth voting for. Government is never going to have all the answers, but it has to be smarter, simpler, more efficient, and a better partner. That means access to advanced technology so government agencies can more effectively serve their customers, the American people. We need expertise and innovation from the private sector to help cut waste and streamline services. There's so much that works in America. For every problem we face, someone, somewhere in America is solving it. Silicon Valley cracked the code on sharing and scaling a while ago. Many states are pioneering new ways to deliver services. I want to help Washington catch up. To do that, we need a political system that produces results by solving problems that hold us back, not one overwhelmed by extreme partisanship and inflexibility. Now, I'll always seek common ground with friend and opponent alike, but I'll also stand my ground when I must. That's something I did as Senator and Secretary of State, whether it was working with Republicans to expand health care for children and for our National Guard, or improve our foster care and adoption system, or pass a treaty to reduce the number of Russian nuclear warheads that could threaten our cities. And it is something I will always do as your president. We Americans may differ, bicker, stumble, and fall, but we are at our best when we pick each other up, when we have each other's back. Like any family, our American family is strongest when we cherish what we have in common and fight back against those who would drive us apart. People all over the world have asked me, how could you and President Obama work together after you fought so hard against each other in that long campaign? Now, that is an understandable question, considering that in many places, if you lose an election, you could get imprisoned or exiled, even killed, not hired as Secretary of State. But President Obama asked me to serve, and I accepted because we both love our country. That's how we do it in America. With that same spirit, together we can win these 4 fights. We can build an economy where hard work is rewarded. We can strengthen our families. We can defend our country and increase our opportunities all over the world. And we can renew the promise of our democracy if we all do our part in our families, in our businesses, unions, houses of worship, schools, and yes, in the voting booth. I want you to join me in this effort. Help me build this campaign and make it your own. Talk to your friends, your family, your neighbors. Text JOIN, J-O-I-N, to 47246. Go to 힐러리클린턴.com and sign up to make calls and knock on doors. It's no secret that we're going up against some pretty powerful forces that will do and spend whatever it takes to advance a very different vision for America. But I've spent my life fighting for children, families, and our country, and I'm not stopping now. Now, I know how hard this job is. I've seen it up close and personal. All our presidents come into office looking so vigorous. And then we watch their hair grow grayer and grayer. Well, I may not be the youngest candidate in this race, but I will be the youngest woman president in the history of the United States. And the first grandmother as well. And one additional advantage, you won't see my hair turn white in the White House. I've been coloring it for years. So, I'm looking for a great debate among Democrats, Republicans, and independents. I'm not running to be president only for those Americans who already agree with me. I want to be president for all Americans. And along the way, I'll just let you in on this little secret. I won't get everything right. Lord knows I've made my share of mistakes. Well, there's no shortage of people pointing them out. And I certainly haven't won every battle I've fought, but leadership means perseverance and hard choices. You have to push through the setbacks and the disappointments and keep at it. I think you know by now that I've been called many things by many people. Quitter is not one of them. Like so much else in my life, I got this from my mother. When I was a girl, she never let me back down from any bully or barrier. In her later years, Mom lived with us, and she was still teaching me the same lessons. I'd come home from a hard day at the Senate or the State Department, sit down with her at the small table in our breakfast nook, and just let everything pour out. And she would remind me why we keep fighting, even when the odds are long and the opposition is fierce. I can still hear her saying, life's not about what happens to you. It's about what you do with what happens to you. So get back out there. She lived to be 92 years old, and I often think about all the battles she witnessed over the course of the last century, all the progress that was won because Americans refused to give up or back down. She was born on June 4th, 1919, before women in America had the right to vote. But on that very day, after years of struggle, Congress passed the constitutional amendment that would change that forever. The story of America is a story of hard-fought, hard-won progress, and it continues today. New chapters are being written by men and women who believe that all of us, not just some, but all, should have the chance to live up to our God-given potential. Not only because we're a tolerant country or a generous country or a compassionate country, but because we're a better, stronger, more prosperous country when we harness the talent, hard work, and ingenuity of every single American. I wish my mother could have been with us longer. I wish she could have seen Chelsea become a mother herself. I wish she could have met Charlotte. I wish she could have seen the America we're going to build together. An America where if you do your part, you reap the rewards, where we don't leave anyone out or anyone behind. An America where a father can tell his daughter, yes, you can be anything you want to be, even President of the United States. Thank you all. God bless you, and may God bless America.